How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another Tressa's Collectibles gameplay video. My name is Mike, and
I'm Randall, aka Shizukatz.
And welcome back to our second gameplay video featuring the Quintessential Quintuplets Set 2. Randall over here is going to be using the good old Nino 12 standby deck again, right? Featuring the
level 2 Nino. It's a tempo standby combo, so it allows her to stand the moment you bring her out via the standby climax and immediately get to using her to attack. And then we have the almighty level 3 Nino. She's got a whole bunch of abilities. She's a healer, she's a burner, she gains standby, and she's the reason why this is known as a 12 standby build. She's a very, very powerful card. But on the other hand, Mike is also going to be playing a 12 standby build.
Yeah, just like how the level 3 Nino gets a standby trigger when you have the right climax on the board, my level 1 Draken also gets a standby trigger when his climax is on the board. So we are both playing these kind of pseudo 12 standby decks. Now, there is going to be a good amount of, I feel like, very... The match is going to have a very weird sense of tempo, I feel, depending on who can trigger more standbys. But at the same time, because your Nino level 2, like you just mentioned, has a very proactive climax combo, whereas my climax combos are kind of just playing things down. We will have to see. Like, and then also both of our decks, we do play like anti-cost 0 tech, right? Your level 1 Nino and my level 1 Takemichi.
Yeah, so between our two decks, those cards are not going to be nearly as good as they would normally be.
But if there's anything that I can say for sure that's going to happen this match, it's going to be that we are going to trigger a lot of standbys.
Yeah, I think one interesting thing about playing this particular standby build against other standby decks is that my power line is lower defensively but much higher offensively. So I feel like a good portion of the game is going to be I kill your things, you encore it, you kill my things, I encore it, and then we just kind of do that back and forth throughout the mid game. So that should be pretty interesting.
Yeah. So in my particular deck, I do have some anti-standby tech in terms of the level 2 support, the Mikey, that can allow me to shrink one of your characters. But then I think on your end, I don't think you particularly will probably mind that too much, because the amount of times you can just refill your board, it should probably just make up for that. But we'll have to see. And then the card that I'm running is also just a 1-up, so it's not as if I can always just find it. But I don't know, I've never played this matchup before, so it's going to be a first time for me. So you guys will get to experience my viewpoint as I see it for the first time.
Yeah, so because this is a tempo combo, typically with a lot of level 1 standby combos that we have seen, they are more advantage based, things like Kaguya-sama, right? Or like maybe Hollow Lives Miko.
Yeah, or Mushoku Tensei, I guess technically is also advantage.
Yeah, and so one big thing about this particular deck is that you need to be getting your advantage through other means in order to upkeep the board. So we're going to see how we're going to be able to do that in this
On
game.
my end, I think the game plan is probably just pretty simple. Try to kill his guys every turn, make him expend resources, and force him to actually, get those good standbys off. And hopefully that gets us there, right? Rock, paper, scissors.
So I will be going first. So we're looking for some good cards to discard into our waiting room for potential early standby. I am going to be discarding 2.
Okay, and I'll be discarding 3.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Alright, so I will draw for a turn. I'm going to clock the level 0 Ichika. The reason being, if I get a standby that I want to play, this will allow me to get red in order to bring it out. That being said, I did not get a standby, so I think we're probably just chilling for a sec. I'm going to start by playing a level 0 Nino. So she has 2 on-play effects. Pretty much just going to be using 1, I think, though, because I don't have any level 0s currently in my waiting room, and kind of just want to, or you know what, we'll use that effect for the top deck knowledge. So I'm going to discard the Nino level 0, and we'll reveal top, and then I'm just going to salvage it right back. So now we have knowledge of the top card of our deck. And I would rather that not go into my triggers necessarily. I kind of, because it's 8 standby, I would probably prefer to hit you for less damage in the early game, because I want to be the one hitting higher levels first in order to bring out my board earlier. What I am going to do is I'm going to use Nino's second effect, discarding a character with Nino in her name and drawing a card. And so that'll put her in my hand. And with that, we will just go into attacks, and I will trigger for 3 anyways.
Nino wanted to be there anyways. Okay, 3's good.
Yeah, so even as early as turn 1, it's really important to think about how you want the game flow to go with respect to like who hits level 1 first or things like that.
Exactly. Especially in standby, like you said. The tempo stream from being able to level up and standby out bigger things is so large.
Yeah.
So I draw, and I'm going to clock my 2/2 Smiling. This allows me to just get it in the wait room when I hit level 1. And for us, we are going to start with our level 0, Kazutora and Mikey. He has 2 effects. Well, they have 2 effects, where on play, if I have 2 more other characters, I can draw and discard one. But since he is the only character I have, I don't have that effect. But his other effect is on play, reveal top. And then if it's a character, I can add and discard it. And I think I'll just go ahead and discard that. And I am pretty content with just doing that. We do have a standby, so we can go ahead and play that. And I believe we'll go ahead and play that in the front row. I don't think it'll matter too much, but just in case he wants to try to field me, I can kind of absorb some damage. But I'm fairly confident that Randall cannot answer the 7/5 hand on card Draken in the front row. So we'll just go ahead and put it in the front row.
Okay.
And then we'll go ahead in front, 500 to 500, and this is for 2.
1, 2. Take 2.
Okay. Alright, here we go.
Let's draw for turn. I'm going to clock the 3/2 Nino that I got last turn. Oh wait, not there. Those go to my hand. Okay. Let's see what we want to do here. I still don't have a climax, which is both a good and bad thing.
Yeah, because hey, I mean, they got to be somewhere, so they're just in your deck still. Yeah.
Yeah. I think what we're going to do is I'm going to play the Nino level 0, the same one I played last turn. I'm going to use her effect to discard a Nino and draw a card. And then I'm going to use her other effect, discard anything, to reveal the top card and salvage.
Salvage level X or lower the revealed card. So right now, Randall can salvage a level 3 or lower.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get the Nino back that I played last turn. I was actually hoping that wasn't a trigger, so I could side for 0. Because if I deal 1 damage to you now, it opens up the possibility of you clocking and then playing like a Hina or something, and then leveling up and then standbying out level 2s, and that would be really annoying. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm going to play Ricky.
Okay.
And I'm going to pay 1, clock the top card of my deck, and then search. And then off of that, I'm going to grab the Climax Swapper Ichika. And then with Ichika's second effect, I'm going to look at the top card of my deck and either leave it on top or put it in my waiting room.
Yeah, so here you get 2 chances, or 1 extra chance to trigger the way you want to.
Yeah, alright. Let's see what we got. Okay. And with that, I'm going to side attack.
Okay.
For 0.
Sounds good. From my perspective, I think I'm okay with either going to 0 or hitting 1 with the hand I have. Since when I do get started rolling, I feel like I should be able to trigger quite a number of standbys. So even if I do get to level 1 late, I can probably still just spew out a board. That being said, obviously we are where we are, so I'm just going to go ahead and clock this level 3 Draken to draw 2. Okay. Well, what Randall fails to realize is I run like 7 cards to clock myself, so.
Ah, Mikey.
Honestly, that just seems like a good play. So we're going to play the level 0 Mikey. His effect is on play, I can put a revenge character from my hand to my clock to be able to look at up to the top 5 cards of my deck and add up to a 1 revenge character.
It's the thought that counts.
And with this, I'm going to go ahead and grab the level 0 Hina Brainstorm. And then the Mikey also gets 1,000 per every one of my opponent's characters on play, so he becomes 3/5.
And then you're gonna brainstorm, right?
Next, I'm going to play my level 0 Hina on play, pay 1, clock myself, and that does level me. I'm going to level the... So I want to level a red card here. Honestly, I think I'm actually going to level a Smiley. The reason being is I actually already have 2 Smileys in my waiting room, and I don't think I'm going to be needing more than 2 Smileys the entire game. And there are other standby things, even if I trigger like 3 standbys, for example, that I will want to standby out. I don't want to level my Draken because I actually plan on shuffling these 2 Drakens back and then playing the Draken Climax combo this turn. So I just want to maximize my chances of actually triggering the Draken standby. So that's why I'm going to choose the 2/2 Smiley here.
Sounds good.
And then I'm going to search. And I'm going to grab myself a... I'm going to grab myself a Drop Salvage. And I'm going to keep this around in my back pocket for a bit. The Drop Salvage allows me to just sculpt my hand and that synergizes really well with Standby. If you guys have seen our previous 8 Standby Tokyo Revengers gameplay, you guys will have seen that, like for example, a play that I can do is I can Standby over this card and immediately pay out the Standby and also hand fix at the same time.
Yeah.
So.
As long as you're...
And then I'm going to shuffle back with Hina's second effect where I can choose 2 of my revenge characters on play and shuffle them back into my deck.
Yeah, so since these Drakens have the ability where when you have the Draken Climax in the Climax area, they gain standby icons. So that's a great card to shuffle back into your deck with Hina in order to potentially hit more standbys. And that's actually something that I can utilize in my deck as well because I have a level 0 that shuffles back the 3/2 Nino that also gets standby icons when I have her specific Climax in the Climax area.
The deck construction of these 2 particular decks, they actually share a lot of very similar profiles. You have the level 0 Takemi, Kazutora and Mikey that are like double hand filters. You have the cards that can shuffle your character triggers back, so on and so forth. Okay. Next I have the option of playing my Emma to allow one of my characters to get a top check 2 when I attack. And I think that's probably worth it because I'm most likely going to be standbying over on my front row when I trigger a standby here. So I'm going to play the Emma and I'm going to activate my standby. Standbying out the 2/2 Smiley. So this will be the card that I'm going to be using to contest his 2/2 Ninos on my offense. And then the Emma is going to give Twin Drive, not Twin Drive, the top check effect to the Draken. Okay. And then I'm going to attack with one of my level 0s first because these are going to be the slots I want to standby out with. So I'll just go with the Hinata first, and this is for 3.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. I take it and level up. And I'm going to level up. Yeah, from now on, we're not going to be wanting to stand by 1/1s anymore anyways, so we'll just level the 1/1.
Okay. Next, I'll direct with the Mikey, and this is standby.
Oh no!
Hey, shuffling those worked out. So we'll go ahead and standby over the Hina. The Draken gets the standby icon because I have his corresponding climax, and this is going to be for 2.
1 cancel.
Okay. And then I'm going to direct with the front with the Draken, activate his MS top check effect. So that's 1. And we'll look at the second one. That's 2. So we'll trigger standby.
Bruh.
So here, it's a bit weird because we don't actually have... Yeah, you remember how I said that we have 3 Mikeys and we're going to level 1?
Or Smileys?
Oh, Smileys. So we're in this particular situation where because we decided to stand by out a Smiley in the back row, we don't have any good standby targets anymore. But
You could just stand by to Draken. Oh wait.
they're in my deck. You know what? I'll stand by out this anyways. And make him actually play a character that needs to kill the 2-1, or have him stand by the 2-2 Nino to kill the 2-1. So because he only has one stock, and he any character that he can reverse this card with is either a 1-1 or the 2-2 Nino, I think this actually does put him some amount of pressure here. So this will be front for 2.
Take 2.
Okay, here we go.
Alright, draw for turn.
In the end, it also is a Global 500, so helps my other lanes get some minor boost in power.
Alright, I'm gonna clock this 1-1. Draw 2. Okay. Alright, I'm going to start by playing the 1-1 from my hand. And then I'm just going to use it to kill the 2-1.
Yep.
Considering my lack of climaxes here, I think I'm okay with maybe trying for just crashing some lanes. On the next turn, either he's going to direct and I cancel, or maybe he directs and I go to level 2 and I can start standing out level 3s. And maybe that's something that he can't handle moving forward. So now I need to figure out what I want to do with my last lane. I don't think it matters too much though, to be honest. Let's how do I want to do this? What do I want to play? I think... Okay, this is actually kind of a not completely obvious decision. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the Climax Swapper. And then I can always get that back later.
Yeah, with like the level 0 Nino.
Yeah. So next I'm going to play a level 0 Nino. Use her effect to shuffle back 2 characters. And then I get to give one of my characters +1 soul until end of turn. I'm going to give it to the level 0 Ichika so she can side into your Draken.
Okay.
And so by shuffling these back into my deck, I have my own chance to trigger more standbys.
Yeah. It does quite help that for both of our respective decks, the Shuffle 2 back effect is on a character that has another pretty useful effect. Like on the Tokyo Avenger side, obviously my Hinata, the Riki, has that effect, but then your Nino is also just pretty synergistic with standby, right?
Because she has an ability that activates when I play a climax, I can bounce her back to my hand. And it opens up the slot for standby. I'm going to play another Nino.
Oh.
So we're going to be giving her on bounce back effect to 2 different characters.
Yeah.
So we'll play the standby. I'm going to bounce this one back to my hand. So I give one of my characters 1k power, and on attack I can choose my trigger, basically how the Emma works. I'm going to give that one to the middle Ichika.
Okay.
And then I'm going to bounce this one and give it to the Nino on the side.
Sounds good.
And with the standby, I'm going to bring out a 2-2 Nino.
Okay.
And we're just going to go right into it. I'm going to attack here first because this is the lane that I want to standby over first and foremost. And this is going to be for standby. And I'll just standby out a 2-2 Nino. And this is going to be for 2.
Okay. That's all.
Okay. I will side attack here. So this has
2 soul currently.
2 soul and then -1 because of the side. And I will use the effect to look it up to 2. And I am going to send this to waiting room, and I'm going to side for 2.
Okay. 1, 2.
And then with the Nino, I will front at 8/5 power. And then we will look it up to 2. And I'm just going to trigger for 1.
Okay. 1's good. My assist is reversed. And stand and draw.
All right, next turn you better watch out.
They're coming.
Nino's coming.
I've already counted these smileys as dead. The good thing is they have hand on course. So. All right, what are we doing here? My first consideration is, do I want to clock? And given that I have a pretty good card to clock, and I do want a bit more cards in my hand, I think I will go ahead and do that. So I'll clock my 3/2 Takemichi support. It's a card that I want to stand by at level 2, so putting it on clock at level 1 allows me to do that. Okay, next, since we do have a standby on our top stock, we'll go ahead and brainstorm. Let's see where that leads us. Hit 1, so MOS effect is per climax hit, I can top check 3 and add 1. So these are the 3 cards, and we'll go ahead and add this one, and discard these.
Sure, I'm gonna check what you're. Let's see, you're out 6. How many of them are Draken? 1, 2, 3. 3 Draken, 3 Mikey.
Okay, we have 8 cards left in deck, and we're out 6. So because the smileys do have the twin drive effect, it does allow me to go through my deck if I do trigger standbys. Let's consider some scenarios here. If I attack 2 times and I trigger standby, and then I twin drive and trigger another standby, that leaves me with 4 cards clean, which is not too great. The ideal scenario is I end my turn with at least 1 climax in deck. And I think the chances of that happening is fairly decent. I do have the ability to be able to mill through the rest of my deck immediately with the help of my level 0 Mikey, but that involves clocking myself 1. And I'm not sure if I need to do that. I think I would rather just chill and just attack 3 times and just have these be as is and not take that extra damage. I'm not exactly sure what the right line is here, but I think I'm going to go with my gut and just start attacking here. Is there anything else I want to do this turn? I do not think so. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and just start attacking. Direct here with the Draken, and this is for 3.
Cancel.
Okay. I gotta keep track of where my Mikeys are, so there's 3 in weight room, and I just triggered 1. Okay. Next we'll go ahead and front with the Smiley, and we will not use the twin drive effect, so this is just front for 3.
Cancel.
And we'll just go ahead and front once again, and this is for 2.
1, 2, take 2.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, I am going to encore the 1/1, as this is a card that will be able to contest the Draken. Alright, draw for turn. Alright, let's go ahead and clock. I'm going to clock the level 0 Itsuki, and then level yellow, as we do need yellow for things like Ichika early play. Draw 2. What I wouldn't do for a standby in my hand.
Oh my goodness.
Alright, well, we're going to rearrange the board so that our stuff kills his stuff. Currently, this Nino is at 7-5 to Draken 7-5, but with the help from a Nino Brainstorm, we can give 500 power every time we reverse one of Mike's characters. And similar to how Mike just like kind of chilled and started attacking, and because he had like some climaxes left in his deck, we're basically going to do the same thing here.
Sounds like a plan.
I've got a good amount of climaxes in my deck.
Yeah, sometimes the best plan is to do nothing.
Yeah. And can't wait to just trigger all of them.
How many are you out? 5?
I'm out 4 in waiting room.
4 in weight room.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, let's begin. I will front attack, so Nino, during my turn, if all of my characters are quintuplets, She gets 5,000 power, so she's currently 12 to your 9.
9, yes.
And this is going to be for 3.
Okay. 1, 2, cancel.
Okay, and then with the Nino effect, I'm going to give 500 power here. And then we will... Which way do I want to attack? I mean, like, doesn't really matter, so... I'm going to attack here first, just in case
you
I
trigger
double standby. Because then I can trigger, like, something like this here, and then maybe, like, another 2-2 or, like, a 3-2 here. So, we'll go here first. So this is going to be for 1, 1.
Cancel.
Well, that worked out.
Ouch.
All right, and then we will, sure, 500 here, and then we will front here for, hello?
3.
For 3.
Okay. I am going back 8. Alright, so we think he has 3 climaxes left in deck, so we're probably not going to do too much damage this turn.
Has anyone seen my standbys? Holy moly! And then I even shuffled back those 2 copies of Nino just to trigger them a turn later. Oof.
Alright, here we go.
So refresh penalty happens in the middle of damage.
And then I finished processing the 3, and I level. So we do play yellow, so we'll just go ahead and level a yellow card. Let's go ahead and level Brainstorm. Yeah. Okay. Alright, all my characters are reversed. I will go ahead and take this opportunity to hand Encore. I'm going to hand Encore using one of the Takemichi 1/1s. And then I will go ahead and hand Encore the other one using another Takemichi 1/1. And then I'll let this Draken go.
Sure.
Okay.
So what is your hand size now before drawing?
5. Okay. Yeah, I was 4 hand previously. Draw for turn. Okay. Kind of tempted to clock just to get more fuel to hand Encore more. My hand quality could also use a bit of improvement, so I am at 2-1, which is fairly low level 2, so I feel pretty comfortable clocking here. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll go ahead and clock a... Well, should have clocked that. The Mikey can actually kill the 1/1 if I trigger standby. You know, let's clock the levels Yukino instead. This Mikey, being a 5/5 beater, can come in handy. So we'll draw 2. Okay. I think we'll actually just go with that line of playing the Mikey and then playing standby. Let me double check that there's nothing else I really want to do here. 5/5, 7/5, tier 7/5. Okay, yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to play the Mikey. Mikey gets 1,000 per every one of my opponent's characters on play. So he gets 4,000, putting him up to 5/5. And then I'm going to play standby. And I'm going to standby out the 3/2 Takemichi that we clocked at level 1 the previous turn. The Takemichi gives my characters in front 2,000, and also the effect where when they're front attacked, I can pay 1 and discard a revenge character.
Yeah,
yeah,
and then
they can't be reversed. And then I'm going to use the Emma effect on the 2/2 Sniley on this particular on the middle. Okay.
Yep.
So we're going to go ahead and front with the Mikey, because if we do trigger standby, we want to be able to standby over the Mikey. Right now, I think we are 7/5 to 7/5.
First attack standby.
No. Okay, front for no.
Let's go.
Yeah, no standby. Okay, so that's for 2.
1, 2.
Hello.
Hello. Come on.
Okay.
500 here, I guess.
Sure. We'll go ahead and we'll front here. And I'm going to activate Mikey's on attack effect where I can pay 1 twin drive. So the first trigger is nothing. Second trigger is standby. So now we're going to standby over the Mikey, and we're going to play down 1/1 Takemichi.
That guy is
very small.
Kind of useful.
But
kind of
actually
useful.
He does have a counter effect where when one of my other characters is front attacked, I can sacrifice himself and give that character 2,500 power. Okay, so that's for 3.
1, 2, cancel. I'm reversed.
Now for this last attack, I'm pretty confident that I can pay out 2 stock next turn. I think. Question mark? Yeah, pretty sure. So I'm actually going to leave that stock alone.
Well, would you rather... You could Emma first, right?
I could Emma first, you're right. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and declare front, and I'm going to activate the Emma effect. And I'll just look at the top card. And... I think I'm good with that. Unless I wanted to mill this card and try to trigger standby again. Which could be a realistic option. Let's see. 12.
Is there even anything better to bring out with standby if you get another standby?
Yeah, it's because I revealed a 3/2 Mikey.
Oh.
But I don't actually think I want to standby out a Mikey here. So I'm actually just going to stop. And I'm just going to trigger for 3.
Okay. Cancel.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to double encore here. We will discard... I'll discard these 2.
Sure.
Encore both of these. Stand and draw. And... I'm going to clock it's level 0.
Okay.
Draw. And I'm going back with 6, missing 2 level 3 climax.
Okay. And we know that one of them is his first trigger, so he has 1 in hand.
Refresh penalty, and then I draw my second card. Okay, let's go with an early play if I have 2 or less climaxes in waiting room. And then I will discard a card to heal to stock. And I'm going to follow that up with a brainstorm, try to not only get more cards in hand, but also potentially increase the quality of potential standby targets in my waiting room. So I'll brainstorm.
Yeah, hopefully we see a 3/2 Ichika, right? That's like the big one.
Okay, so I hit 2. 3/2 Ichika would be pretty big. Yeah, the support. So I hit 2. I'll get the memory kick counter, and I'm just gonna grab a 3/2 Nino, even though that like makes my waiting room standby quality not as good. I did just mill 2, so the chance that I actually...
Right, because there are only 4 climaxes left in there then.
Yeah, the chance I actually trigger a standby here is quite a bit lower now.
Yeah, and the 3/2 Nino is also just a healer on play, so...
Yeah. Okay. And with that, I think we're pretty much good to go. So, let's see.
Power-wise, the Ninos are once again back at 12k, and then the Ichika is 10-5?
Ichika's 10-5, yeah, because she gains
500 per every other.
So, he counters for how much? 2-5?
Yeah. Takemichi is the 2/5 counter, then Mikey's 9k base supported by the 2k, so that's 11, and this is 9. So 9, 11, and plus 2/5 on either lane.
Okay, so right now I'm 12. If I reverse 2 lanes, this goes up to 13, which is still in range. And I would really prefer this to not like crash in on the offense, and then have to like double encore if I want to keep it on the board. So I'm gonna position like this. Reversing with these 2 is gonna buff this up to 11-5, which is in a range where it forces you to use that. I mean, like you're gonna use it anyways because.
Yeah. I mean, I think either way, I get to have 1 lane live, and you kill 2 lanes. So it really just depends on which 2 of your characters you want to survive, and I think obviously the Ninos are probably higher value there.
Yeah. Another line that I'm potentially thinking of doing, actually, now that I look at the board state, is maybe reverse 1, buff this to 11, and then attack with this immediately, and this potentially allows me to do 3 damage here. Because the way I see it, this Ichika is dead no matter what I do. So I think I'm going to go with that line instead.
Attack with this Nino, giving this power, and then attacking immediately after that with the Nino. Oh, with the Ichika. Yeah, I like that line.
All right, so we'll go with a front.
Yeah, I will not use effect.
For how many times am I going to trigger this card? 3?
1, 2, cancel.
Okay, and then with the Brainstorm effect, 500 here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will declare front.
Okay, and let's... Before I immediately jump the gun, let's consider the options I have, because I do have several options. One option is to activate the Takemichi. The benefit of doing that is I kind of absorb 1 damage from not getting directed with the 3rd lane on the Nino. But if I were to do that, I would probably rather just hand encore. So I guess the 2 considerations are I just let it go, and I can just hand encore the Mikey, or I Takemichi counter and I take your direct. So essentially, it comes down to trading 1 card in my hand for 1 potential extra swing. I am out 4 right now. I have 3 in Waiting Room and 1 in my stock. If this 2 sticks and he doesn't trigger... Oh wait, no, we haven't even triggered yet. So we don't know how much this is swinging for. That's a problem. Ideally, we don't hit level 3 here. But I do think the chances of him hitting a trigger on these next 2 attacks are fairly high. Do I value 1 card in my hand for this Takemichi to save this Smiley? I think having cards in my hand is probably fairly important because the Mikey needs to discard. And having more cards in my hand also means I need to clock less for destroying cards. So essentially that also counts as healing. So I think I am going to go with the initial play, which is just sacrificing Takemichi, giving my middle 2/5.
Sure.
Yeah.
This is for 2.
Yeah, I kind of just wanted to think about it a bit more. I wasn't quite immediately sure.
You know what would have been really funny? If you don't Takemichi, I trigger standby. This goes up 500 power because I get another body on the board, and then I just kill your Smiley.
Yeah.
All right, and then with the direct for 4.
Okay. 1, 2, cancel. All right, things worked out. I will definitely go ahead and encore this Smiley, so I can start challenging his board again. So we'll go ahead and discard the Draken. And draw for turn. Okay, I am out 4 plus 1, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cards. To clock or not to clock? I think I'm okay with not clocking here. But I do want to brainstorm. So I'm going to brainstorm. 1, 2, 3, 4 with. Okay. Four, 5, 6, 7 cards in deck. We'll definitely put the Mikey here. Smiley. I keep calling him Mikey for some reason. Okay, so now I'm actually going to start giving up on my brainstorm. I believe. Yeah. We're actually going to early play our Hina. Hina's early play condition is if I have 4 more characters, I get -1 level. And then on play, I can sacrifice one of my characters. So I'm going to sacrifice the Emma to heal the stock. And then...
Wow, you opened up a slot for standby targets. Crazy.
And then I'm going to play standby.
Oh my god.
Okay. Well, actually, hold on. Let's rearrange the board real quick. Let's see. The Smileys are higher priority than Hina. Hina has already done her job, so I want these to be in front. Okay. Well, actually, hold on. There is a world where I standby out in the middle to replace the Hina, actually. So I think we'll actually do that instead.
Okay.
Yeah. Play standby. Standby out the 3/2 Mikey. And then we'll proceed into attack. We'll go ahead and direct with the Hina first, and this is for 3.
Cancel.
Okay. And then next we'll front with this Smiley, and that's for 2.
I need 9k, right?
9k. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to use my memory kick counter.
Sure.
To boost me up to 10k. And this is for...
This is for 2.
2?
Did not trigger.
Take 2.
Okay.
And then I send
Smiley
you to
is
memory.
reversed and sent to memory. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm honestly not too hard pressed to get a standby out, so I'm just gonna do a regular front without triggering, without twin driving. So that's for 3.
1 cancel.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, we definitely have some options here. Let's go ahead and... I'm going to discard this Ichika early play for hand encore.
Sure.
Because we don't meet condition anymore, so... We could save that for level 3, but I think there's more important cards in my hand that I want to save for level 3. Alright, I'm going to clock level 0 Ichika. Draw 2. Let's play a Ichika Brainstorm. So this is a Rest 2 Brainstorm. I'm going to go ahead and use it. And then I Brainstorm 5 instead of the normal 4. And then for each climax I hit, I can search my deck for an Ichika. Oh, I hit.
Ooh, that Brainstorm 5 come in real clutch.
Okay, so I can search one Ichika. I'm going to grab another copy of herself. Let's see. Okay.
There you are.
Alright, and then I'm going to use Ichika's other effect, pay 1, sack herself, to look at up to 4 cards from top of my deck at any Quintuplets character from among them. So this card's very powerful, allowing you to go through a lot of cards in the deck in one swift motion. I'm going to grab the level 0 Nino. And then I will play the Nino. I'm going to first use her effect, discarding a Nino to draw a card. And then I will use her other effect, discarding a card, revealing the top card of my deck, and salvaging. I'm going to salvage the level 0 Itsuki.
Okay.
So this is going to allow me to hopefully permanently remove your other Smiley. So I've gotten rid of one, and now I can try to get rid of the other one. So I will use Itsuki's effect, resting her, giving my Nino the effect where when I reverse your character, I can force you to heal 1 and then send your character to stock. So that's what we're aiming for. And then from there, we will go into attack phase. So I'm going to start by attacking with the Nino. This will allow me to get the 500 point boost, just in case. We will attack here. This is for 12k for 2.
Okay. 1, 2. 2's good.
Okay, and then we will front... Oh, I will get 500 here. And then I will front attack with my 12-5 against your 11.
Okay, I'm going to activate Takemichi.
Sure.
Pay 1 and discard. And my Smiley cannot get reversed.
Sure. So basically making you pay 1 extra for Encore in this case. But and that's going to be for 3.
Cancel.
And then finally a direct attack here for another 3.
Cancel.
Okay, so how many going back of each?
7 back.
Okay, just missing this one? Got it.
Okie dokie. And how about yourself?
I'm going back 6, missing 2 level 3 climaxes.
Okay, so it's still the same 2 that we knew of.
Yep.
1 card in deck?
1 in deck.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, so this ended up being not too shabby. I have
Cards in hand?
I have 5 hand.
Not bad.
So I have maximum clock, mat, and then a bunch of stock, and then my compression's pretty good, even though I'm going back with just 6. Although you could say the same.
Yeah, but I only have 2 hand though, so.
Oh, you have 2 hand?
Because last turn I didn't clock, and then I missed Brainstorm, and I also played a Hina healer. So I am actually a good amount behind in my hand size.
Okay.
There you are. Upon further reflection, it might have been a better play to not go for the Mikey standby. I probably should have sacrificed the Takemichi with the healer, and then just standby out the Takemichi again.
And maybe...
And then, like, probably just forego Mikey this game, but this is the line we went with, so this is the line we'll have to live with. Refresh point.
Yep.
And there is honestly a consideration to 3-stock the Hina here, because I don't actually need that much stock. And I am only 2 cards in hand. Honestly, I like this. This also allows us to get a bit more waiting room. We're going to get waiting room anyways with our clock next turn when we go to level 3. But I'm pretty sure there's like another 3-2 Mikey in there or something. And I do want to reverse his guys. Yeah, we'll go ahead and 3-stock.
Okay. Sure.
Okay. This puts my hand strain a bit lower, and then we'll draw for turn. Let's see. What do we want to do? I really want to clock, just to get a bit more hand. But that could be a risk considering he has Nino combo ready to go in his hand. And Can I see a winner? Sure. So another card that the deck does run is this 2-3 event. And unfortunately I haven't been able to keep track of all the copies. So I'm going to assume that he just has one. Well, I think we can always do a line like this just to make the Mikey big and reverse his Ninos. Oh wait, hold on. We're still in clock phase. Okay, so the question is whether to clock or not. 3 cards in hand. I'm gonna clock. I'm gonna actually clock this climax that I drew.
Sure.
And I'll just go ahead and... Oh, we don't need blue anyways. We'll go ahead and level something irrelevant. Yeah, Hina's fine. Okay. Draw 2. Okay. Alright, let's see. I think the line is just to chill.
Okay. Unless actually, I put the Mikey in the back row to save it for a future turn, so I don't have to pay resources to save him, and I front row Takemichi. And I'm still contesting here, and as long as they contest, I'm honestly fine. If they get reversed the next turn, I don't think I'm gonna be saving them anymore. Seems reasonable.
Yeah, I'll go with this.
Sure.
We'll go ahead and start with the front with the Hina, and this is for 3.
Okay, 1. Alright, so once again, refreshing with 6. Alright, refresh penalty.
Yeah.
Leveling up. Don't need this 1/1. And then 3.
Finishing is for 3. Yeah.
2, 3. Cancel.
Okay.
I'm reversed.
Next, we'll front with the Takemichi. This is for 2.
1, 2. Cancel again.
Oh no. Okay, and then we're going to... I'm going to twin drive here, I think. I'm going to twin drive here because I actually do think I want to trigger a standby.
Okay. What potential targets are there in?
The 3-2 is the one I'm looking at.
Okay, that's a good card.
And then also I want to twin drive because I want to try to stick a 3. If I stick a 2, it doesn't really matter too much because he just heals twice with Nino. So I'm going to twin drive because of those 2 reasons.
Sounds good.
First trigger standby. So go ahead and standby out the 3-2.
And then one more standby, because why not?
No, we'll do one more trigger. Okay, no,
Okay.
so it's for 3.
1, 2, cancel.
Okay, here we go.
All right, my whole board is dead, but how many cards in hand?
4.
Okay. Yeah, I want to play 3/2 Ninos this turn.
Yeah.
So the thing is that I could encore one of these just in case I cannot get access to a second Nino. And
I think that's probably a fairly safe play.
I think that's what I'm gonna go with. So I will encore one.
Okay.
Because the other Nino, in order to get a second Nino, I have to hit a brainstorm. Clock.
Okay.
Draw 2. And we're gonna start with a brainstorm. This was always what we were starting with. Oh, we hit.
There we go. 2 Ninos.
Oh, 2.
Oh.
So I will salvage the 3/2 Nino, and what else do I want to do? So let's see. If I play 2 Ninos, I go down to 4 stock, and then after using combo twice, which each cost 1 stock, I go up to 3 stock at the end of the turn. So for my other card, I'm just going to grab I think I'll grab one of these Ninos.
Okay.
Just to give me more options on a potential follow-up turn. Okay, we will play our Nino. I'll play heal. We'll play a second one. Nothing to heal. I'm going to use my Itsuki's effect on this Nino to give that effect here. We will play over. Yeah, we'll play over the Itsuki with the Nino level 0. I will not use the Shuffle Back 2 effect though.
Okay.
And then we're just going to bounce her right back to our hand when we play this standby. Yeah, this looks fine. So I will play standby. I will bounce this back to my hand, and I will give 1k power and the choose my trigger ability to the middle Nino. Actually, we'll give it here, just in case the opportunity arises where maybe I want a side attack.
Sounds like a plan.
And then we're going to bring out the 3/2 Ichika. She's a 2k front, and then she also has the effect where up to 3 times per turn, if a character comes from my waiting room to stage, I can give a character a soul. So if I trigger a standby, I can modulate my damage and give a soul somewhere. All right. So we're gonna start by attacking with the middle Nino, and I will. Oh, that's at the end of attack. So I will declare front.
Yep.
For 2.
Okay. 1, 2, cancel.
Okay, I will use the effect. Pay 1.
At the end of attack.
Discard 1 and burn 3.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. 3's good.
All right, and then we will. I'll give 500 here.
Sure.
All right, we'll front attack here for 14.5 for 2.
2. Okay, I'm actually gonna use my 3/4 counter. Pay 4, and then I do have to discard 2 as well. So I'm going to discard these 2.
And this hits me for 2.
And
right?
then it chooses one of battling character. They can't do damage that turn, and it also hits that player for X equals the number of soul on that battling character. So I hit you for 2.
All right, take 2.
And then I take no damage.
Yep. And then because that also impacts the burn effect, I'm just not going to use the effect.
Yep.
All right, so I will attack here. 500 here again. So this is currently 13k? 13.5. Because this gives 5.
Yeah, 500 and the effect. Yeah, 13.5.
13.5. And we're going to be fronting. So I'll use the effect of the Nino that I bounced to choose my trigger, potentially. I'm just gonna stop at 1, and this is gonna be for 2.
Okay. 1, 2, cancel.
Okay, and then I'll use the effect to force you to heal, and then bye, Smiley.
Alright, Smiley is gone. Alrighty, climaxes in waiting room?
I have 6 in waiting room.
6 in waiting room. So he has 1 left in 5. And he clocked a event, so I assume he just drew another one. So we're gonna operate with the assumption that he has one of the -3 soul events. Okay, stand and draw. Do I have a final turn? No. So we'll go ahead and clock the Draken and draw 2. These are not good cards.
Let's do on play again.
He was on play.
Okay.
Yeah, I am in a pickle because I don't think I can get enough damage out. So these definitely have to go front. And then I'm going to play this level 0 Mikey just to have an attacker. I guess I'll put it here, and if I trigger standby, he'll be big. The Mikey and Draken can attack and burn 2, and top deck him. It does not seem like I have enough soul output to be able to finish this game here. I cannot activate the Mikey Climax combo because I don't have another copy of Mikey in hand. So I guess this is it.
I like the sound of that.
Is there any world where we can get there? I guess there still is. But I think we'll just leave it up to chance.
Okay, so what's the cost on this? Pay 3, discard 2.
Pay 3, discard 2.
Alright, and you have how much hand?
2.
Okay.
Alright, so we're gonna front.
So you want the Mikey here instead of here after all?
Yeah, because the board I don't think matters anymore. I'm just gonna see if like the side here matters.
Sure.
So I'm gonna activate the effect. Pay 3, discard 2. On attack to burn 2.
1, 2, cancel.
And then top deck. Sure. Okay. And then this is a swing for 2.
Alright, I will take the 2. Ideally, I want to save the counter for if he triggers on a swing for 3.
Okay, and this is reversed. I'm smaller.
Yeah, I'm 10-5. 500 power here, I guess.
Sure. Is there a right order here? I guess I should Mikey first so that he has to pay the event before he refreshes. If I... Well, they're both Mikey. If I swing with this level 0 Mikey with 1 soul and I don't trigger, he's just gonna let it go. If I swing with this Mikey, he always has to go for it, right? Yeah, well...
It's basically a coin flip.
I don't think it matters. Like, I'm trying to see if it matters, and I don't think it matters.
It doesn't matter. It's a coin flip.
Yeah.
The only thing that matters is whether or not this triggers.
Correct. Yeah. Alright, we'll front. And it's 4-3.
Alright, and then we're going to use our -3 soul counter, targeting Mikey.
Okay, so he does no damage.
You reverse me,
I
though.
am bigger. Alright, Mikey, it's all up to you.
No.
Front!
No. Oh! I'm down.
I'm sad.
I'm so down. Alright.
Alright, here you go.
How many are you out?
I am out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
You're out 7?
I am out 7. And I have 6 cards in deck.
Alright, we're just gonna encore this. Because this is damage. Alright. Draw for turn?
Yeah.
Alright, so here's the plan. I'm going to brainstorm first. And the reason is because I want targets in my waiting room for potential standby, because the 3-2 Ichika lets me potentially modulate soul if I trigger standby. So I need... Actually, I only need 2 damage, huh?
You do.
Yeah, I
you
just
need 2 damage. If anything, you probably just want to play a bunch of zeros, right?
Okay, yeah, never mind. All right, yeah. I didn't realize how super small your deck was, so. All right, refresh point.
Yep.
All right, yeah, we just want weenies. So, all right, weenies.
Yep.
I don't need this. I'll use the effect just to verify the top card of my deck. So I'll discard this, reveal top, and then I'll just get this back. And this tells me that I can attack for 2 here. And then we'll just play this here. So now it's 2/2/2.
Alright, we're hopefully we want to see more of those on the top of this deck.
Okay.
Can we... Oh, actually, we're just dead.
You're looking pretty dead to me.
No, we're just dead.
Alright, front for 2.
This 2 makes me dead, for sure.
Yeah, and then we just have
There's
to...
no permutation that I can live here.
And then direct, or yeah, for 2.
Yeah. Okay.
Whoa, what a down-to-the-wire game that was.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
I think I can actually identify exactly the point where I started losing control of the game, and it's definitely the turn that I played the Hina early play healer and decided to not get more resources. I hadn't realized how much longer the game would have gone, or how many more resources I would have needed to finish the rest of the game. In hindsight, reflecting on the situation, I definitely needed to clock there and brainstorm. And I also probably wanted to keep the brainstorm so that I can hit more brainstorms in the future. Especially since I was always going to go with the line where I would use the 3/4 event at some point. Because that discards 2, and because all of my finishers also need to discard, like the 3/2 Mikey needed to discard, and then the 3/2 Mikey Draken double rare that also needs to discard. It does put a lot of strain on my actual hand size, so I gave up hand size a bit too quickly there at level 2, and I think that was my big downfall. Where it came down to, at the very last turn, if I just had a bit more resources, I definitely could have done a bit more plays there.
Yeah, and that just goes to show one of the strengths of the Nino deck in particular, because despite her low defensive power, she was addressing your Smiley's turn after turn, and forcing you to utilize resources on that, whereas if it was any like 1k1 deck, they probably would not have had nearly as much pressure on your board.
Yeah, so the fact that you could basically keep up despite the fact that your board was getting wiped every turn, and you still had enough resources to pull off almost everything you wanted, right? Like your 3/2 Ninos, you had enough for the counter. I think that really goes to show, even against other standby decks where, not only is it good against other standby decks because during your turn you can wipe their entire board, but also you have enough resources to just keep on gassing, keep on hand-encoring the Ninos, and keep reversing their characters.
Yeah.
So it's really on them to be able to maintain hand size themselves.
Yeah, so like the thing about this deck is that despite the low power potentially being an issue where you're having to like hand-encore your stuff, the fact that the other cards in the deck can support your card advantage just enough to where it's not really a problem means that you're really forcing the issue on the opponent to keep up.
And I think really the MVP goes back to the fact that the level 3 Nino is so low resource. The fact that you can have so little hand going into turn even.
I can't believe this is pay 1, discard 1 for a...
Pay 1, discard 1, burn 3 is absurd.
Yeah, it's like so efficient.
Yeah, and it's not even on attack too. I mean, like, it does help a bit that you... Like in the scenario where you might have wanted to like triple Nino, you can start turn with 0 stock compared to on attack burn 1, on attack pay 1. It plays around different things, but either way, pay 1, discard 1, and is it discard anything?
Yes.
Discard anything? Okay, that's absurd.
Yeah, you need to have 2 other Quints characters. Ooh, right.
You're never gonna have 2 Quints characters, right? No. Not especially since it's on standby.
Yeah. One thing that we didn't really address in this particular game, though, is there's a very different dynamic between these 2 decks regarding their pseudo standbys. And this is sort of a topic that is very much up for discussion. So, like, if we can find like the Draken.
Yeah. So the targets themselves, right?
Yeah. So one thing that I like to argue for in favor of the 3/2 Nino is that it basically makes it so that no matter which climax you are playing during the mid game, you have additional plays past just the standby effect itself. So like if you play the 2/2, you're getting the tempo, and then if you're playing the 3/2 standby, so let's say you don't draw this standby at level 1, it gives you additional plays to go with, even if you don't have the tempo here, which is basically what happened in this game, even though I didn't trigger this. Whereas with the Draken combo, one thing that people like to argue against the 3-2 Nino is that because the 3-2 Nino is such a high impact late game card, triggering them and putting them into your stock isn't necessarily exactly what you want to do, right? On the flip side, I would also argue that because the Drakens are something that you actually do want on the board going into your mid game, it can be a little bit problematic if you're also trying to shuffle them back into the deck and try and kind of make them run double duty. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I definitely think that there are pros and cons to either, your standby being on a 1-1 compared to being on your finisher. I think it does have a lot to do with how the rest of the deck is constructed around these climax combos, right? For example, the Tokyo Avengers deck, it runs other level 1s that you honestly are probably just a lot better than Draken all of the time. Once you get to level 1, you almost never want to stand by on Draken again. You get out the 2-2 Mikey instead. And then, like you said, once the Draken's in stock, it's kind of whatever. But to your point about the Mikey climax, the Mikey climax doesn't actually do anything until I hit level 3.
Yeah, so if you're drawing Mikey climaxes, you're just playing raw climaxes.
But on the other hand, being on the 2-2 Smiley for the rest of the game is honestly just fine. And then if anything, you just want to stand by out like occasionally just to bring out some more upgraded support. Like at level 0, you want to be standby out the Takemichi and Draken. At level 1, you want to standby out the 2-2 Smiley. And then at level 3, you want to start standby out some more quality stuff like the Takemichi support, the Draken. So you never really add a loss of standby targets, but at the same time, you don't want to standby too much. And since the Smiley has hand on court, it's not as if you always need to like refill your board every turn, unless your opponent is playing something that can directly remove the Smileys, like for example the Itsuki Baku, right? One thing that I really wish that, like for example, like the Quints deck had to make the Nino level 3 a lot stronger is if it had the ability to twin drive as well. Right. Where if you trigger a Nino and let's say it's your first attack, then that's really unfortunate because if you want to get that Nino back into actively use as a finisher, then that's just really buried, right? Yeah. And the 2-2 Ninos don't have the ability to pay that out to be able to salvage it.
Yeah, the thing that Nino has in like a recurring trend in a ton of her cards is the ability to choose your trigger, but not the ability to pay out triggers. That's something that they gave a lot to Ichika cards.
With Twin Drive, yeah. So you're kind of just hoping, it's kind of this weird juxtaposition where you do want to trigger the Ninos, right? Especially when you have her climax out to be able to bring out more standby target.
You want to trigger like third attack though.
Yeah, but you want to trigger like third attack. Kind of just like how you want to trigger standbys as later rather than sooner. In Nino, you especially want to try to trigger later rather than sooner. So I think there are pros and cons to both. Honestly, having played the deck, especially with how you do have access to things like the level 0 Hinariki, being able to shuffle back the Drakens, the Takemichi being a pretty decent standby target. But I think the biggest part about why I think it's probably fine in Tokyo Avengers is actually because of the Mikey. The Mikey being able to mill 5 all the time and being able to accelerate you to level 1 quicker, and also being able to fill your waiting room a lot faster with a lot more cards means that you're never honestly at a loss of standby targets.
Yeah, honestly, this Mikey, the card art that they chose for this could not have fit it more perfectly, because it's honestly, when you look at the card at first, it's such an unassuming card, and then he's an absolute beast, right? Yeah.
So there are just, like, I think this game showcased it really well, where Randall tried to have me stay at level 0, and then even if I didn't have the Mikey in hand, I could just Hina for Mikey and then play Mikey.
And then we're off to the races.
Right? So like this deck could accelerate itself really quickly to level 1. So that does alleviate a lot of the potential problems that comes with not having enough Drakens in waiting room if I did want them in my deck.
Yeah, and the other potential problem of like against pretty much exactly what I did that game against a smart opponent that knows the game flow that they want for like an 8 standby mirror, and knowing to sometimes seek less damage so that your opponent doesn't get hit to 1 first. But this deck is like, nah, we're going to 1.
Yeah, it's like I standbyed out the Draken in the front row because like I mean, honestly, it probably didn't matter because I don't think you would ever try field me there, but it did give you the opportunity to side for 1 or side for 0. But at the same time, I think this really bailed me out. I think if I were to play this matchup a bit more smartly, I'd probably do just standby out the Draken in the middle, in the back row. I mean, so that's probably a mistake there to standby out in the front row. But
yeah, I think in particular, this deck isn't looking to like early game.
Yeah, definitely, and also my deck too, probably. But I kind of went with the line that made the most sense, especially since my waiting was set up so well to have multiple Smileys out. But this deck definitely wants to try to also take it slow, I think, and have a bunch of hand at all times so that it can just out-resource your opponent with finishing money counters and the Mikeys.
Yeah, one other thing about your deck is that you didn't really have much control over finding the Mikey. Like,
Correct.
It's mostly like the drop salvage is like the big one, right? Because your brainstorm isn't selective,
so
and your Mikey's not selective.
So I think a good amount of people that have built 8 standby do choose to run the salvage brainstorm instead, just because of the selective advantage. I chose the Emma with a very particular concern that I want more deck speed, and I also want the ability to be able to find the events more, and I value the climax placement effect of being able to top check 2 extremely highly. That being said, as we did see this game, that did mean that I couldn't find my Mikeys at all. Right. And standbying out Mikey in the back row was kind of wishful thinking on one part, especially if I was prioritizing the money counter to try to survive. When I used this counter, my hand was Mikey, Climax, and 2 drop salvages. So after I discarded the drop salvages, there was no way I was going to be able to Climax combo again. And then on the flip side, if I discarded like the Climax combo and a drop salvage,
you have like no real good way to get the Climax back.
Correct. Yep. So I think either way, you can probably still make the Emma Brainstorm work. I do think Emma Brainstorm is extremely powerful in standby, but I think I just misplayed the middle game extremely heavily and didn't really manage, I just didn't manage my resources well enough. But I think with proper resource management, this game felt very winnable for sure. Like, I think for both of our ends, we did our game plans as average. I mean, it was pretty. You killed my stuff, I hand on cord. I killed your stuff, you hand on cord.
Yeah, mine could have gone.
You could have definitely could have gone
like a little bit better, because like these two, I literally just like.
Yeah. Yeah. So you had one turn where you couldn't reverse my guys. The first turn I hit level 1, I had 2 of my lanes live, which was pretty good for me. So in another world where you actually did draw the level 2 Needle Climax combo, you could have reversed one of my guys, and that could have made me -1. But on the other hand, if they're not in your hand, they're in your deck. So
yeah.
But yeah, that was a good amount of session, but there's definitely a good amount to talk about. I feel like these 8 standby matchups are. Well, I think this particular matchup isn't super convoluted. Because I think our game plans are pretty straightforward, but there might be other 8 standby matchups like Mushoku Tensei, for example, versus Quints, or Mushoku Tensei versus Tokyo Revengers, where it might get a bit shaky in terms of like the overall game plan. I know, like, I personally don't have that much experience against in the 8 standby mirrors, because like even in casual play, I generally tend to prefer 1k1 decks. When I go into regionals, I also prefer 1k1 decks because I just am more comfortable with them, and I think they're a bit better in terms of time control. But I do enjoy the occasional 12 versus 12 standby matchups. It's very, very different.
Yeah, I think it's really nice and refreshing to approach the game from a different angle when playing standby decks. Like in my first deck rotation, where it's like, okay, if Mike hits me to 2,
sure.
It's like, all right, sure.
Yeah.
I can stand by out level 3s now. And,
yeah.
It's that sort of difference in thinking that really just lets you expand your horizons and just become a better player.
Yeah. Ultimately, I lost sight of my win condition, and I think that was what cost me the game. But I did learn quite a good amount from this, and I hope you guys learned from my mistake and have got something from this gameplay video in learning how to play 8 standby mirrors properly. But this does do it for our 8 standby Nino portion of our Quintessential Quintuplets gameplay videos. Coming up, we will have more gameplay videos for you guys featuring the waifu decks themselves. You guys have seen our previous section when we did Quints Set 1 waifu gameplay. But how will the new decks stack up against each other? Who is going to come out on top as the winner of the Quintuplets? You guys will just have to stay around and see. But until next time, this has been Mike and Randall on the Tressa's Collectibles channel. and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Later.